Steve Pikiell and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights getting set for the 2025 season, a team that scored more than they have at any point in his now 10 years on the banks last season. But again, everyone knows, got two of the top players in the NBA draft, and Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, who have both moved on. So it's going to be a little bit of a new look team for Steve Pikiell on the banks, and he joins us now. Coach, it was a little bit of a weird year, I think, last year, right? There was a lot of excitement around your team. You had some injury issues. It just felt like it never quite got to where people hoped that it might get. What did you learn about yourself last year, about your program, that maybe you can apply here going forward?
You know what? I mean, we're doing our work right now and no one's watching, so this has been a good part of our off season. But I had a tremendous amount of fun coaching those guys. We were just young at the wrong time in college basketball, and quite honestly, it's a league with a lot of great players, so you got to have multiple great players. And we never quite put it together with injuries and all the different things that happen in this kind of league. But learned a lot of sellouts, a lot of excitement. They helped us recruit a great class. I think we got a good fourth-ranked recruiting class in the league coming in. We've gotten back to blue-collar, some roots. Like we defend right now. We're physical as can be. I'm telling you, I'm year 10. I couldn't be more excited about this group of guys. And we've done it with no cameras in the gym and none of that stuff. It's been back to work in their competitive group, and I'm excited about.
Well, you kind of hinted at it there, and I'm really interested because I've seen you say this in the media this offseason about, hey, we're going to get back to our identity. And the identity for most of your time there has been defense, has been blue collar. How do you reinstill that? What's the process of getting from where you were last year? And I know you still want to score, and 77 points a game would be great, but how do you get back to being, hey, this is who we're going to be?
Well, I tell you, last year we had guys that could score 20 points, 30 points, and they're going to do great things in the NBA. We didn't rebound last 2 years. It's been a real issue for us. This group is huge physically. We got 7-footers, we got big guys, we got older guys. We got 2 international players that are older and that have played professionally overseas that I'm excited about. We have improvements from our returning guys. We have 4 returning players. But, I mean, there's a lot of excitement. New athletic director, great new president. They're both from LSU. Kelly's been a breath of fresh air. In this new era that you got to be competitive too. I'm thankful, for RevShare. That helped us get a real competitive group here that I'm excited about. And let's get back to, rebounding and defense, and I think this group can do that.
I will tell you, after last year, and I texted you a couple times, you stayed positive. I could always tell in the post games you'd put your glasses on just to calm down a little bit, and you'd act like maybe you were reading the stats, and then you would calm down. But I got to give you credit for that because it's hard. I know losing is hard. It's tough, and some of the games you went through, but you are a good coach. I know you are. And you just talked about rebounding, your background. Coach Calhoun, one of the best rebounding coaches of all time. How important is that? People don't realize little things like that make such a difference.
Huge. And in a league like this, we finished 11th last year, a game out of 9th place or 8th place. Those are at-large teams, So we were close. Our expectations were crazy. People thought number 1 when you get those kind of players. We were picked 9th. You need to be in that hunt. I want to get back to the NCAA tournament. The last 2 years haven't been great years because we haven't rebounded. And it's been a theme of ours. We do have tremendous size this year. But I like my group. And I like when people doubt. It's been that way for 10 years, and I'm good in those places, and I'm excited about being with this group and with a new AD and a new president, and Rutgers is at a great time in our school history with a lot of great things going on, and we got to get back to the NCAA tournament, and I'm driven to do that this year with a group that right now looks like we got the tools to be able to do that.
What's the challenge with so many freshmen? Because that's hard, especially in this day and age.
I like our international freshmen. They're a lot older, and they've played a lot of minutes in a lot of places. But we got a talented group of freshmen. We got some kids that are very athletic. I have 2 elite defenders. I think I have 2 of the best defenders in the league. So we get back to having a Caleb McConnell type guy that can guard multiple positions, and we have 2 of them. So I'm excited about them. We have a shot blocker in Fall, who is a McDonald's All-American. He blocks shots as well as anybody we've had. We got Emmanuel Ogbol, who's 7 foot, and he's never been healthy for the whole season. he's healthy right now. He is huge and physical, and and Dylan Grant's back, who had a really good freshman year and's got a lot of tools. Jamichael Davis is one of our toughest players that we've had. We brought in a leading scorer from the America East, and Reek Francis, who can really shoot the basketball. So this group's been very competitive, and they've been fun to coach. And I'm looking forward to, us getting back to what we've always done a great job of, and that's defending and rebounding.
You mentioned a lot of names there. Who's your leader? Like, it was pretty clear last year who your leaders were. Who's your leader on this team?
Mike. Now, first of all, I'm just thankful. 3 years he's been with the program now. Hopefully we have him for 4 years, which will be one of the rare things in college basketball moving forward. But, our freshmen and our returning players, Emmanuel Ogbol, Bryce Dortch is back, who gave us great minutes last year. Dylan Grant is a terrific athlete and really can shoot the basketball and has improved. He played starter minutes last year. And then we got our 2 international guys that come in with tremendous amount of experience. But we're really competitive from 1 to 13, 1 to 14. We have some guys. So I'm excited. We've done it with the doors closed, with not a lot of fanfare, but this group is exciting to me, and I think Rutgers fans are going to really like, this version of Rutgers basketball.
Is there one guy that maybe is a surprise that hasn't got quite the exposure or publicity? There's always, we always talk about Tanjay. Obviously, for Wisconsin, that was off the charts, but I'm looking at the stats from him. Is there somebody that's going to surprise people out there?
I think our whole roster is going to surprise people, because you never heard of Dennis Badalou, who's from Romania. Last time you heard Romania was Nadia Comaneci, and he's a really good player, and I think people are going to be excited about him. Darren Buchanan Jr. was the leading scorer at GW a couple years ago, can guard anybody. He's built like Lawrence Taylor and can do some things. And, our freshman class is very athletic. It's a very athletic class with some great length. And, so we have a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. The chemistry got to be right. And my staff and I, we got to do a great job of, because we got shooters, we got some shot blockers, which we haven't had. We're big physically at every position, and I like that. And we may foul out every game, but this group is
like
willing
Lawrence
to hit
Taylor.
people.
He'll get some tackles.
That's how I like it.
We got linebackers, we got gymnasts.
Right.
I mean, we've had a lot
That's
of
right.
high-level athletes referenced in this brief conversation.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, very good. Steve Pikiell, always a pleasure. Great to see you, Coach.
Thanks so much.
All right, have a great year. Here is the challenge ahead for Steve Pikiell and the Scarlet Knights. You see some interesting non-conference games. Speaking of good freshman classes, Notre Dame's got a really good one, so that should be an interesting game there over the Thanksgiving time, November 24th and 25th, back-to-back against Tennessee. And the Fighting Irish got the always anticipated in-state rivalry with Seton Hall taking on Penn as well this year. And then you see the conference schedule, including a couple of games with Michigan State, Andy.
Well, I will raise you Nadia Comaneci with Simona Halep for Romanian references of elite athletes. But now we got another one on Rutgers. Jamichael Davis and Dylan Grant back with Rutgers. You couldn't hear your head coach, but Steve Pikiell is referencing your leadership, your returning potential contributions. We know we have a new roster of not a lot of headline names. We're waiting for those to occur. Take us inside that practice court. What have you seen to give optimism to those Scarlet Knight fans that this team is going to return to the Rutgers of old?
No, definitely. It's been great. The guys have been great. I think for the most part, everybody's coming in and wanting to get better. I think that's a good part to have, good trait to have. We all coming in, competing at a high level, and just trying to make sure we stack days and get better every day. So our summer has been kind of, putting in work and just trying to get to know each other and get connected as fast as we can.
I'd say we got a lot of workers, a lot of energy guys. Practice is always a dogfight. So, we got a lot of pieces this year that come together, hopeful for a great season.
Coach said just a couple minutes ago, you guys are back to your blue-collar ways. What does that mean to y'all? What do you guys talk about in the locker room? Because Coach could say anything he wants. Coach could be on the podium. He could coaches speak. But at the end of the day, the players got to go out there and they got to play. What have you guys been talking to each other about in the locker room? And what has been that message? And what does blue-collar basketball look like to you guys?
Definitely just trusting the work and not being afraid of the work. I think staying here showed that we're not selfish, and we're willing to stay in tune and to get better as a group and try to do it together as much as we can. But just blue collar, just trying to stay, level-headed. We know what the work that we got to do, and we're not shy from it. We're willing to take that step and put in some work if need.
We work every day to be everyday guys. We got a bunch of dogs on our team, and we're just out there just working hard in practice. Every day is just a dog fight.
Last year, scoring was not a problem with Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. 2 years ago, there were a lot of droughts offensively. Now let's assume you're back to being a defensive rebounding team. Where is the scoring going to come from?
Scoring definitely going to come. I think we got a lot of guys who can do a lot of things. I think our floor and our offense, I feel like everybody's going to be able to get touches. Everybody will be able to get shots. We're going to be able to make shots and stuff like that. And like I said, we just got a lot of guys who can do a lot of things. So just trying to play together as much as we can. Just share the moment with each other. Compete together.
We got a lot of versatility on our team. A lot of times our defense leads to our offense. We got a lot of athleticism as well. So, that's going to help us a lot this season.
And Dylan, speaking about the athleticism, speaking about the versatility of you guys' squad, you came on in conference season last year. It felt like you couldn't get off the bench in the non-conference. But once January hit, it was a whole different Dylan Grant out there. Yeah. What led into that change? What clicked for you halfway through the season? You finished conference play with 3 or 4 games above 15 points. Yeah. What worked out for you the end of the year?
I'm going to say just going to practice every day and just, working hard, whatever you put in the practice and, off the actual court, that'll lead into the in games. So that's all I did, just working hard every day and just waited for my number to be called. And eventually it was called, and I just went out there and put my best foot forward.
Jamichael, Jersey Mike's Arena, affectionately known as the Rack, when that place is popping, it's arguably one of the best home courts in the country, not just in the Big Ten.
100%.
What will it take to get that home court advantage back?
To get that home court advantage back, I honestly think we got to win as much as we can at that stage as much as we can. I feel like the fans, they're always going to show up and show out, and just like building off that energy that they give us, trying to get wins as much as we can.
Is the bus fixed? The bus that I was driving?
Nah, I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask you.
All right.
Are you still on the Rutgers bus?
Well, I was booted off the bus at times last season. I was driving it, lost my license driving the bus. It went into a ditch. Then it came out. Listen, if you'll have me back on the bus, I'll drive it again.
Nah, don't let him drive the bus. He got off the bus. And then when it went in that ditch, I started driving that bus, and now I'm the driver of the bus. We don't need passengers. When anybody start an answer and they say, well, that means they don't want to be on that bus anymore. Yeah, I'm on the bus with y'all now.
All right, that's all I like to hear. I like to hear it.
You're not going to let me on the bus, Dylan?
Now, you're always welcome. Always welcome.
Oh, all right.
Come on, Tim.
Open those doors. I'm coming on the bus. We're driving it again.